Big shout out to my manager Richard for letting me have one of the posters. Thank you. I can't tell if you can see it very well or not, so we're just gonna go with it.
It's a Friday once again.
Hello and welcome back, my fellow freaks. Are you guys ready for another movie review? Because I'm actually doing something current this time. What? I know this one is a little bit out of the norm for what I usually post on here. You know, I like to do obscure stuff that I just randomly find. I like B movies, I like disturbing cinema. However, I am a big fan of Stephen King, and when I saw that The Monkey is coming out, listen, we are going to be covering some new stuff if I'm excited for it. And I was really excited for The Monkey. I mean, who doesn't want a horror movie about one of these creepy motherfuckers, right? Everyone is afraid of the Symbol Monkey. Everyone. And so, like, I don't know. I feel like a horror movie about Symbol Monkey is perfect. However, he doesn't have symbols, does he? No, he has a drum. We'll get into that. So yes, this one is a little bit different than what I usually do, but please bear with me. We will be back to our regularly scheduled program next week. I've just been really excited for The Monkey. I want to talk about The Monkey. Actually, hold up. I have a red vest. Hold on, let's get into character for a second. This is my vest from work, but hey, we'll make do with what we have. The Monkey wears a red vest, I'm gonna wear a red vest. Now, this is going to be like some of the other reviews that I've done in the past. On here, Maximum Overdrive, where I have read the story and now I'm seeing like how the adaptation is to the story. I did this with I think 1 or 2 movies that are on my blog as well. When in doubt, just add more tape, right? So we are going to be going into some of the differences and similarities between the story and the movie. If you're interested in that discussion, it will be here. I did it with Maximum Overdrive. I'm gonna do it again here, and I'm gonna tell you already, my feelings with The Monkey are as complex as my relationship with Maximum Overdrive was. But let's stop talking about it and let's go ahead and get into it. If you're new here, hi, my name is STARGUTZZZ. Any crashing that you hear in the background are my cats. Also, my reviews tend to be more focused on prominent features of a film rather than like giving you the play-by-play of everything that happens in detail. So if you just want to know like in detail what happens in the movie, this isn't the review for you. I'm going to be discussing prominent moments instead. And because of that, I try to be as spoiler-free as possible. I'll let you know the last chapter where I talk about the ending, that's going to be all spoiler. I will bring up spoilers as they are prominent to the discussion, and here it definitely is. If you would like to watch The Monkey before the rest of this review, the only way to do so is, you gotta go to the theater and see it, unless you know a website and somebody has recorded it on their phone and put it on that website. The only way that you can see The Monkey as of right now is if you go to the theater to see it. Oh, also, this is gonna be another review like Terrifier 3 and like Gutterballs, where you're mostly gonna be seeing my face the entire time. The Monkey just came out. The only clips that I have to really use are from the trailer, and that's gonna get old after a while. I'll do it for the synopsis, but otherwise you guys are just gonna have to look at my beautiful face the entire time. I apologize. So without further ado, let's get into this review. Some years after their father disappears, twin brothers Hal and Bill find an old toy monkey in their father's closet. After discovering the monkey has the power to kill people at random, the boys dispose of it in a well. However, 25 years later, the monkey is back and hungry for more blood and chaos. One of the first things that we are going to get into is the story versus adaptation, but let me just tell you that this is very different from the story. But if you've read the story, you know that this movie had to have been very different for it to work. In fact, I don't even feel like I have much more to say about the synopsis, because so much of this discussion has to do with the story versus the movie. Perhaps we should just go ahead and jump into that discussion. So first of all, I do want to say it's a fine adaptation. There is nothing wrong with this adaptation. And like I just said, if you read The Monkey, then you have to know that like a lot of changes would have to be made to that story for it to suit a film. Even before I finished the short story, I was like halfway through it and I was like, the movie is gonna be nothing like this. This isn't gonna be the movie. The movie is going to take a lot of creative liberties, and it did. And some of these changes I do feel like are for the better of the narrative and work really well. Other changes are just weird, random, and like, why did that have to be changed? Like, some of the changes are so silly and minute, and like, because they're minute, probably nobody else cares about them, but I do, because when it's something that minute, it's like, why even change it then? So if you are not much of a reader, which a lot of people are not readers anymore, this is how the narrative goes down in the story. In the actual short story, Hal doesn't even have the monkey 24 hours and he gets rid of it. He probably has it for like a total of 12 hours in the present day. And a majority of the story is him remembering back to this monkey when he was a child, which is how the movie starts. So the actual story is just focused on his memory of being a child and what having the monkey was like as a child, the people who died, just how much he hated it. I feel like the story also kind of touches on, at least in the first half of it, on this fact of like, is the monkey actually causing the death? Or is it just like warning that somebody's about to die? Later on in the story, I think it starts to make it clearer that the monkey is actually doing the killing, but there's some questioning, I think, of Hal's sanity within the story. In the present day, Hal is cleaning out Aunt Ida and Uncle Will, not Uncle Chip, Uncle Will. He's cleaning out Aunt Ida's house, and his sons find the monkey, and they end up taking it with them, and it brings back all these memories. And I shit you not, present day Hal probably has the monkey all of 12 hours and he gets rid of it. He keeps the monkey long enough for like a fly to die. And that's it. Like, I don't think he jingles his bells any. Jingles his bells. What am I talking about? I can't remember. It's a big story. For like hardly anything to happen. And I'll get into how he disposes of the monkey in the story later on, in case you don't want to be spoiled by that. However, where the short story is focused on Hal's memory and disposing of the monkey once he finds it again, the movie is focused on this narrative of Hal versus Bill. Bill is mentioned in the short story, but he hardly takes up space. Like, he doesn't really have a role other than just being the older brother. And in the story, he's legitimately the older brother by about like 3 or 4 years, I think. Where in the movie, they are twin brothers, and it's like good twin versus evil twin. And it's a little silly, but okay. But the movie is more focused on this Hal versus Bill narrative, with Bill being like evil twin and Hal being the good twin. However, I think this change kind of works for it, because then it creates this dynamic and this conflict between the brothers and what should be done with the monkey. It does make things a little bit more, I wouldn't say action-packed, but compared to the short story, I guess action-packed. It's not an action-packed movie, don't take it that way. I'm just mean like more happens in the movie than the story. And some of these changes that the director, I didn't even say the director's name, it's Osgood Perkins, the same guy who did Longlegs and Blackcoat's Daughter. I didn't watch Longlegs, but I did watch Blackcoat's Daughter, and it was alright. A lot of the changes he made, they do feel like changes I think Stephen King would make if he were to rewrite his own story. Like, I feel like it's at least kind of true to the Stephen King style. Is that what we should call it? The Stephen King style? And so the twins versing each other, I think that was a change for the good, because otherwise it would be a really boring movie. Like, the story even, I'm gonna say it, I love Stephen King, but the story is really boring. Not a lot happens in the story at all. And then the way that it wraps up, we'll get into it. But here are some of the changes that were made for what to me feels like no reason, that I just really wasn't vibing with. First of all, Uncle Chip In the story, he's Uncle Will, and it's this whole thing with, like, Will and Bill, chaotic duo, whatever. Again, this is probably just something that bothers me, but, like, why even change a character's name? What's the purpose of it? What is the point of changing Uncle Will to Uncle Chip? Also, Bill was literally named after Uncle Will. I just don't understand why they made it Uncle Chip, but they kept Aunt Ida. Don't you even worry. And by the way, every single time that I read or heard Aunt Ida while reading and watching The Monkey, the only thing that could come to my mind is Aunt Ida from Female Trouble.
Aunt Ida.
You really like it?
Yeah, all right, Aunt Ida.
But, like, why change his name like that? Why does it even matter? Why does he need to be Uncle Chip? There's a purpose for him to be Uncle Will, because Bill is named after him. And that could have been a duo that works in the movie, too. Anyway, another thing that aggravated me is the time period that they decided to set the movie in. Because here's the thing, the time period really doesn't end up mattering. Again, a lot of the things that were changed don't really matter, but, like, at the same time, to me, they kind of do. So, when did Skeleton Crew? No, the book, not the fucking Disney show. 85. The Monkey story, at least in Skeleton Crew, came out in 85. And that makes sense because even though the story in the movie is set in, like, 2024, why does everyone dress and act, I don't know, it's still like the 80s. The only semblance of it being present day is, like, we see a smartphone once and there's a character that vapes. But otherwise, it looks right out of the 80s, which is when The Monkey would have been taking place real time in the story. We only see a smartphone, like, once, maybe twice, I don't know, but I only remember one time that we see a cell phone. All the rest of the time, we're using fucking landlines. And, like, people look like they're from the 80s. And when it was back, when it shows the flashback of them as kids in 1999, the only one that looks like he's from the 90s is Bill. Everybody else looks more time period accurate to about, like, the 60s and 70s, which, again, would be the proper time placement within the short story. Like, Chip and Aunt Ida look period accurate to the short story, not for 1999. So you changed it to the current year and it doesn't even matter. I don't know, it's probably just a me thing. Nobody else probably cares about that. But you know what I do care a whole lot about, and I think everyone else should too? The father. They changed the father. And I don't like how they changed the father. When I talk about the father, I mean Hal and Bill's father, not Hal as a father, although they did change that too. And my feelings over it are, like, I don't know. So first of all, when this movie started with Adam Scott, I have an Adam Scott rant. You know what? I'll save my Adam Scott rant for the conclusion. So if you want to hear my thoughts, either skip to the conclusion or wait for the conclusion. I have a lot of thoughts about Adam Scott. But he's the first character you see. And so I thought he was going to be Hal. No, he ends up being Hal's father. And I think maybe this might be something that confuses a lot of people. It confused my husband. I went to see this with my husband. Yes, I'm married. And after the movie, he was just like, who the fuck even was that guy at the beginning? And I had to explain to him, like, that's Hal and Bill's father. But the movie does a really, really shitty job of telling you that. Like, if you didn't read the short story, you probably don't know who the fuck that guy in the beginning was. But this is the change that I fucking hate about it. In the movie, Hal's father is a pilot and a deadbeat. That's how he's portrayed. A pilot and a deadbeat. And there's this continuing theme of deadbeat dads throughout the entire movie that's not present in the short story. I think something that Stephen King always tries to do, and it's probably like a projection of himself, is having a father figure who's genuinely trying and means well. And that's what the short story has. The father in the short story is a Marine who goes missing. That it's like worlds apart from how the father's portrayed in the movie, and I don't like that. There was nowhere in the short story where his dad is described as some deadbeat that left. He was a Marine who became a missing soldier. His dad disappeared. He went missing. And it's alluded to that he went missing because of the fucking monkey. But no, they paint him as like a deadbeat, and like the mother doesn't like him. That's not how it is at all in the story. Come on. Why did that have to? What was the purpose of that being changed? It's the same thing with Hal. Hal is portrayed as a deadbeat. He's not a deadbeat in the story. What is the focus on deadbeat dads in this movie? And then finally, another change, which I think we've all noticed, is the drums and no cymbals. Why did they make it drums and no cymbals? I actually have an answer for you for this one. Because I was curious. I was like, if they aren't using the cymbals, there must be a reason. Do you guys want to know who to blame? Blame Disney. I'm not even joking. It's Disney's fault that we don't have an actual cymbal monkey in this movie. Because Toy Story 3 had the cymbal monkey, so now Disney owns the fucking rights to the cymbal monkey, even though the cymbal monkey was put in Toy Story 3 specifically as a Stephen King reference. So that's why the monkey's playing drums in this one. It's because of Disney. So thanks, Disney. Thanks for literally ruining everything. Like they just couldn't give the okay for the actual story, even though the director of Toy Story 3 said that he put the cymbal monkey in as a Stephen King reference, and now we don't even get... I'm okay. I'm fine. Anyway, let's talk on something a little bit lighter, because now I just feel aggravated about some of the changes that had to be made with this movie. Let's talk about the death scenes, because the death scenes were so fun. I will tell you that the death scenes are fun. They're creative. A lot of them are very unexpected, like you're wondering what's gonna happen? What is about to happen? Some of them you're able to predict what's about to happen. Other ones you're just like, oh, what's about to happen? What's about to go down? The gore and special effects are really good. It's super bloody. Super, super bloody. The producer is James Wan, who worked on the Saw movies, so... A lot of people have been comparing the monkey to Final Destination, and I definitely see that. Now, I'm gonna tell you guys something. I haven't seen Final Destination. I have seen bits and pieces of Final Destination, whichever one has like the tanning bed scene or like the roller coaster, or unless those are the same movie. I've seen bits and pieces. But I haven't seen the Final Destination series. Maybe that's something we can get into this year on the channel since a new one's about to come out. Maybe. But from what I know about Final Destination, what I have seen, the monkey is Final Destination, yeah. Like I said, a lot of the kills are creative. A lot of them also have to do with explosions. I wish I had kept count of how many exploding bodies are in this movie. That I can remember off the top of my head, there's at least 3 people who just straight up explode. It's like a comical explosion too. It's like not realistic at all. It suspends your disbelief. And a lot of the times it can be really funny the way that these characters are dying. I like it. If you enjoy like gore and funny deaths, or if you enjoy Final Destination, you're probably gonna absolutely love the monkey. Because in that aspect, it was a whole lot of fun to watch. Everyone does die. And that's fucked up. Now, a lot of the deaths are funny, and a lot of people have been calling this movie a comedy. And I will admit, there are some moments where the comedy is like really good. Like there are some really funny moments in this movie. But there are other moments where the jokes just feel really forced. Like really forced. Like I get that I should be laughing at it, but I'm not. Because it just... yeah, it feels forced. That's not to take away from this movie as being a comedy, But there really were a lot of moments where the comedy aspect feels a little bit forced onto the audience. Not only that, but there are parts where the comedy just straight up fucking ruins the scene. Not all of the jokes landed. I can't think of any specific examples right now. Since it's still in theaters, I only got to see it like the one time. One of the scenes that I remember not really landing for, or one of the jokes, I guess, that didn't really land for me was like, I don't know how much of a spoiler this is gonna be, but like there's some planes crashing, timely, and earlier on, the son, Petey, is talking about how they're skydiving and they do weddings, and so in the scene when a plane's going down, like a bride crashes through, and I get that that was supposed to be like a joke and a callback to that, but I didn't laugh. This is what I mean. Like, I know I could tell you several more examples if I got to watch this movie more than once. And again, the comedy ruins some of the aspects of this film. Like, for example, there are moments where things seem like they're supposed to be getting emotional, and it just doesn't land that way because, I'm sorry, but every person... There are two emotions that every character goes through in this film, and it's angry or emotionless. And that's it. Those are the only anger or just straight up emotionless. There's no in between. Like, there are scenes where you can tell this is supposed to be a sincere scene. This is supposed to be a serious moment. But because of everything else, it's just not convincing. It's not convincing. I don't feel anything. I don't care. The comedy has been so leaned into in this that, like, it ruins any kind of sentimental value that it tries to add onto the story later on. This is going to be a spoiler, so I think this is also the last thing that I have to talk about in this section. So if you don't want to be spoiled, actually the next section is a spoiler too, so from now on, if you don't want to be spoiled, go skip on to the conclusion. In both the short story and the movie, Hal and Bill's mother die, and she dies because of the monkey in both stories. The difference is that in the short story, it's actually a really prominent and emotional moment. We have the boys crying, we have them bonding with their Aunt Ida after their mother passes away, and growing these new family connections. It's like a really important part that this mother dies, right? And in the movie, it's important that the mother is dead as well, but not in the same way. You see, in the movie, when the mother dies, no one cries. In this short story, when the mother dies, the boys are crying, and each of them, like, find comfort in their Aunt Ida, who is now their caretaker. Yeah, in the story, it's like nobody cares that the mom is dead. At her funeral, nobody cries. Her sons don't cry. Her sister doesn't cry. The funeral is kind of focused more on being funny, and I'm just gonna say it, that pisses me off. It pisses me off that there is no sentimental value to the mother, but at the same time it's trying to make it seem like there is. But no, you fucking ruined it. You ruined it. These characters are emotionless and don't give a fuck about anything. Even when their fucking moms die, they can't shed a single fucking... Even the sister can't shed a single fucking tear. Everything's bone dry, you know? And then it tries to pretend later on like it fucking matters. You already set it up like it doesn't... Anyway, now I want to talk about the ending of the movie. This discussion is going to be 100% spoilers. It's going to be 100% spoiler for the short story and for the movie. So if you do not want to hear how the movie or story ends, feel free to skip to the conclusion, get my final words and my Adam Scott rant and my tear in the conclusion if you don't want to be spoiled. The endings of the two movies. The ending between the short story and the movie are drastically different. Now, I will say, one of the things that I did really like about the movie is how they changed the ending of the story. Because I'm going to tell you, I was actually really disappointed in the ending that the short story had. It felt very lackluster. It felt like it was over too soon. It felt like it was rushed. Like I said, Hal in the story doesn't even really have the monkey 12 hours and he gets rid of it. So it's just like not exciting. It's just like, okay, he finds the monkey, he has these memories, he throws it into a lake. And that's it. So when I read this short story, I was kind of disappointed at the end. I didn't like the ending. That is one of the few parts where the movie succeeds. I love the ending of the movie. I think it fits the story better. It's a little bit of a depressing ending, which you know me, I love a good depressing ending. And I think it ends up like kind of fixing some of the narrative stuff happening. Not fixing it, but wrapping the narrative up really nicely. Where the short story ending just kind of feels slapped together, this one actually kind of has some meaning to the story and some of the discussions that take place throughout. So there's this emphasis of the monkey being like life and this discussion of like how death is going to impact everybody. It's unpredictable. And so the movie's ending really emphasizes this and this curse of the monkey that they can't get rid of. How this monkey being in their life is as inevitable and unstoppable as death. Like it's a little bit more symbolic, I guess you could say, the monkey is in the movie, because the monkey is like this literal symbol and embodiment of death. It just happens at random. It takes no requests. It just does what it wants. And I like that a lot better than it just being chucked into a lake. I'm sorry. Him just chucking it into a lake is so uneventful. Him accepting that this is a curse and accepting that like death, it's inevitable and it'll follow him. There's just no way to stop it. I like that ending a lot more. I think it fits with what the monkey is supposed to represent. So you know what? I'll give it that. It definitely improved on the ending. And the ending that it decides to do is something that I feel like Stephen King could have done himself had he not been on Coca-Cola. So this one kind of feels like how I felt about Maximum Overdrive. Overall, I just feel a little bit meh. About the monkey, which is upsetting. I was really excited to see it, and again, I love Stephen King. The deaths were probably the biggest highlight. The deaths and the ending. Those are the biggest highlights of the movie. Everything else, it either aggravates me or I'm just like, about. At the end of the day, I kind of feel like I could live with or without this movie. I wish they had actually made it the Simple Monkey. I wish they could have actually done the Simple Monkey. If you like primarily gore, this is definitely going to be a movie for you. Lots of gore. It was really fun, creative. At times, the deaths are really funny. And here's my little Adam Scott rant, if you waited until the conclusion to hear my Adam Scott rant. Adam Scott is so much more fit to be Hal than whatever fucking muscular model they have chosen, who they cast. I don't know his fucking name. But are you kidding me? I saw Adam Scott. I don't have TV. I don't watch TV. So I didn't see any trailers for the monkey. So when I saw Adam Scott at the very beginning, I was excited because I thought he was going to be Hal. And Adam Scott is such a perfect Stephen King protagonist. Are you fucking kidding me? You just put Adam Scott in this movie and he's not Hal? He would have been the perfect Hal. Why do we have this like gorgeous muscular model as Hal? That's not a Stephen King protagonist. A Stephen King protagonist is like a little fucking scrawny dweeb. I am so upset that Adam Scott was not Hal. Because Adam Scott is so close to what I was picturing Hal to look like, because that's what every Stephen King protagonist looks like. Not some, like, beautiful man. Get that shit out of here. That's fucking disgusting. Adam Scott should have been Hal. I'm mad about that. That's my little Adam Scott rant. I'm so mad. So like I said already, I feel this way kind of like how I did about Maximum Overdrive, even in the sense that I don't know what tier to fucking put this in. Part of me feels like I should put it in a B tier. Another part of me feels like C. But for the moment, the monkey is gonna get a B tier. I had fun watching it. There again, of course, there are parts of it that I wasn't crazy about, but there are other parts that I did really like. Could this potentially move down to C tier in the future? Yes, because I still kind of feel that way about Maximum Overdrive every now and then when I think about it. Like, I should have just left Maximum Overdrive as C tier, honestly. I shouldn't have given that a B tier. But for now, the monkey's just gonna get B tier. Maybe by the end of the year, I'll change my mind and I'll move it down to C. I'm really iffy. I'm really iffy about which one it should be. I'm gonna be honest. And the fact that I only got to see it once, doesn't really help in my judgment. In fact, I think with Terrifier 3, I just refused to rate it because I couldn't see it more than once. I'll have to get back to that one. Okay, you guys, my little freaks, with that, we are done with another movie review. I hope you guys liked this video. Thank you so much if you stayed until the very end. I really appreciate it. If you liked this video, make sure to stab that like button. It helps out a lot. It's a free, easy, simple way to help out this channel. It helps support it, and I really appreciate it a whole lot. Also, if you just enjoyed this review so much that you want to hear me talk about more movies, by the way, I do usually do like obscure B movies and disturbing media. Not often do I do something new, but if you would like to hear me discuss more movies, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon so you can be notified the next time that I upload. I do always upload movie reviews every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you to anybody who considers subscribing and liking the video. Also consider leaving a comment, give me a movie suggestion, and maybe I will review it for the channel. You can catch me live here at STARGUTZZZ Live. The days vary due to my work schedule, but if I go live, you'll usually see me on there at about 6 or 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then here are some other socials that you can find me at. I'm actually trying out something different. Find me on Space Hey. Let's go back to 2005. Again, just thank you so much for being here. Time is precious. We really don't have a whole lot of it. And the fact that you used your time to sit here and watch my review, I just appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. If I don't catch you guys in a live stream, I will see you in next week's video. Have a good night and stay safe out there.
It's back. It must be vanquished.
Why don't you vanquish it, huh, Bill?